YouTube. Wow, what a day it has been today. I can't wait to tell you about it. It's been very successful for me. I think based upon a decision I made last night. So let me explain what I've done today. Today is the Thursday, the 8th of June. Now, after yesterday's video, I brought it to a close and I stopped for the night about 8 o'clock. And I was thinking about what I was going to do today. And I had two options in my head. And I'll explain what I had to do. So on Thursday and Friday, the days are flexible, but I had two routes to do, which involved 3 pickups each and a drop off at High Wycombe. So the first route was from Swansea, then Cirencester, then Bicester, and then dropping off at High Wycombe. And the second route was Exeter, then Minehead, and then Bridgwater going to High Wycombe drop off. And so I ended up last night at 8 o'clock at Newport in an effort to get as close to Swansea as I could. Now I was still an hour away from Swansea at 8 o'clock at night. So I was thinking, how could I best utilise my time? And the two options were these. The first option was I could tramp where I was near Newport because I was quite tired, and I was favouring that option. And then in the morning, this morning, I would then make my way to Swansea and then around to Cirencester and then across to Devon to do Bridgwater, Exeter and Minehead if, and it's a big if I could fit it all in my van, which is a big if, and B, if I had time to do it, to then get back to High Wycombe in time before the depot closed. Now my rationale for not doing that was that I really wanted to get back home tonight to get in my bed, because I've been tramping all week and I've run out of food and I'm getting quite tired, not sleeping very well. So my preference was to not do that option, but to try and get everything done today in time for going home. Now, my plan, if I'd done that first option, was to then on Friday get a route, tip off in High Wycombe, and tip off in High Wycombe, and then tramp where I was, and then the following day get a job that went to Bicester, sort of along the east going east from High Wycombe towards Oxford area, try and get a route along there to pick up my last pickup of those two routes, and then find a route back from there to High Wycombe and then go home on Friday. And I just, with experience, thought that's probably going to be unlikely I'll get a decent route that's going in the right direction for the right amount at the right time. So for a variety of reasons I didn't like that option, the option of tramping where I was last night. The second option was to pick up, get back in the van, drive to Swansea, pick up my Swansea route, drop and pick up, and then drive as far as I could around to Exeter before I got too tired. But then I realised I can't do that because then I can't tramp in my van because the van will be too full of stuff from the first pickup. So my other option was to drive to Swansea and just tramp there overnight, and then basically start from Swansea in the morning as my first stop as early as I could, and see if I could get all 6 drops done in time before the depot closed. I didn't like that option either because I was tired last night. I didn't fancy the hour's drive last night and then the getting set up. It would have been a good 2 hours before I got some sleep. So I was dithering about what I should do. I did look at how long it would take me to do the 5 pickups, and I worked it out as being 14 hours. And I thought, I'm going to have to leave where I am at 5 o'clock in the morning to have any chance of getting to the depot by 7. Again, that didn't seem like it's a viable option. I just thought it's not going to work out for me if I do that. I'm probably going to be pushing it too much. So I was there for a good 10 minutes thinking what I should do, and both options I had didn't ever really appeal. But in the end, I decided that I would drive that night to Swansea and then get up as soon as I could in the morning and just see how today went and see how many of the 5 or 6 stops I could do. So that's what I did. I drove to Swansea, got there about 10:30ish by the time I arrived, and then I got to sleep and hoped I would get a reasonable amount of sleep. Right, so that brings me to this morning and today's adventure. So today I left my van. Well, actually, yes. Before I do that, I went. I parked really close to my first pickup. So I didn't have any travelling this morning. So effectively, when I started my journey today was when I started loading. Effectively, it's a few minutes of driving. So 7:15 was when I started today, and I got loaded at first stop in Swansea, and then drove around. And I decided when I looked at the map to miss out Cirencester because that was going to add too much time. I went straight from there to Bridgwater, which was a 2-hour trip. I got loaded up and finished Bridgwater at 9:05. And the reason why that went so quickly is because when I got there, I didn't have anything for me to pick up, so there was no handballing. So I saved myself half an hour of time there. So I thought, at this point in time, I thought, oh, this day could turn out quite well. But I had a lot to do still. So from there, I travelled about an hour and a half, an hour and a quarter to Minehead and picked up my load from there. And then I travelled the hour and 3/4 from there to Exeter. And again, at Exeter there was nothing to pick up. So that route was finished, and I only had a very small amount of stuff in my van, which meant I could fit in the last 2 stops. So the capacity of my van was no longer an issue. My issue was I would have the time to do it. And by the time I got to Exeter, it was about 12 o'clock. And I had a 2-hour journey to Cirencester. And I thought, this is going to work. This is actually going to work. I'm going to do this. So I took myself off up the M5 to Cirencester. Got my pickup from that place. And then I moved on from there to Bicester. And it was on that journey to Bicester where I began to get a bit tired. And I got to Bicester at about 4 o'clock-ish, roughly 4 o'clock-ish. And I hadn't looked at the map. I knew that Exeter was 3 hours away from High Wycombe, so I knew that when I picked up my last of the 6 pickups, and actually again when I got to Bicester, there was nothing to pick up. So fantastic! I'd done all my 6 drop pickups. They all fit on my van really easily, and I now had time to get to the drop-off point. Now I didn't look at the map, and I was wondering, how long I wonder is it from Bicester to back to High Wycombe? Is it an hour, 2 hours? It won't be any more than 3, surely. I looked at my sat nav when I put it in. It was 45 minutes. I was so pleased because I was getting quite tired at this point. So I had 45 minutes to get to the drop-off point, unload everything, and I did that was finished by 5 o'clock. Maybe 5 past 5 or something. I got out of the depot. What an amazing success today. Now, if I had stayed at Newport and not gone to Swansea, I would have added on the hour to Swansea and the hour back to where I was. No, I would have added on an hour, wouldn't I, going to Swansea? I'm tired. Would have added on at least an hour. Anyway, if I'd done these Swansea, Cirencester, Bridgwater, Exeter, Minehead, then Bicester, if I did it that way around, I think it would have taken me longer. So I think I chose exactly the right amount of travelling distance and time to get all 6 pickups arrived at in time. So I'm quite pleased with myself. I am quite tired at the moment. I'm on my way home. I have got some stats for you for today. Now, I have had a pretty tough week in terms of earnings, and today is the icing on the cake that's made this week working out quite well. I'm going to go through the figures now, and I've still got a day of work to try and get some more money. Friday, tomorrow. I'm not sure what's. Oh yes, I have booked a job for tomorrow, so I've already got. That's another success for today. During the day, I was looking at all the jobs I could do for tomorrow morning, and I've got a job from from Boston, going to Preston. Now, I won't go into details yet. I'll talk to you about them tomorrow. But the other thing I will say is, I won the bid from a shipper that knows me, but I didn't look closely enough. There's actually one stop in this, so it's not as good. I bid what I thought was quite low, yeah, reasonable, on the lower end, but reasonable still, because I know that because I was getting lots of bids rejected. I bid on about 6 things before this came up, and actually for the start of the week I didn't want to go into another day with nothing booked in at the start of the day tomorrow. So I rushed into it, booked it up, and I realised it was an extra stop, but actually I'm fine with that. It's a bit more time on my day, but I'm just glad I've got a long distance job for tomorrow, and all I've got to do tomorrow is get there and get some sort of work back home, and that'll be the end of my week. So I've got, in my mind, I've got to find one more job this week to make it work. I've got no idea what my final week's stats will be at the moment, but I'm assuming one decent job will be enough to make it work. I don't know for sure. Right, so for stats for today then, today's stats. So because I've put in the figures for when I get home, I'm going to get home about 8:30 roughly. I'm probably going to stop on the way back and get some fish and chips. I'm dying for some extra food. So I've based my time on as if I don't stop. So it's going to be about 8:30ish. So I'll round up my time to make it to a full hour. My time today, if I get back 8:30, will be 13 3/4 hours. I'm going to round that up to 14 hours if I get some fish and chips. But today I have driven 503 miles. The average pence per mile that I'm paying for this week is 12.69. Now, if you're very diligent, you might be asking, well, why is that different to the figure I gave yesterday? If you are, congratulations, you're very much the sort of person I want to know. The reason why it's different is because I filled up with fuel yesterday, and so in my other spreadsheet I've now got an average price for the week for 2 fill-ups, and so the average price, the price that I was paying fill-up I did yesterday was about 12.3. So when you average out the 13.09 to the 12.3, it comes out to 12.69 on average. So that average with that mileage gives me a total fuel cost today of 63.82 pence, £63.82. So let's say £64, and that means I need to give my earnings. My earnings for today were completely nothing to do with the CX today, just with the shipper that I'm building a relationship with. 2 jobs were £245 and £255, 245 and 255. So I have a total gross earnings of £500 today. Therefore, after fuel, I earned today £436, 436, which goes some way to making up for my bad Monday and Tuesday. Okay, so as I said, today's work was all not driven by CX work. I was looking for CX jobs today all day, and I am looking for a job on the way home in case it pops up, but it's unlikely. But the thing I wanted to share with you that I've learnt with this job, and again, it's nothing I say is unique. There are YouTubers out there, the ones that I've mentioned previously in my first few videos, who have said exactly the same things I'm going to say. So I'm not trying to pretend this is a unique idea to me, but one of the things that they all would say is that for you to make a living doing same-day courier work, you do need over time to build up relationships with people so that they can give you work directly without it going through a bidding process in the CX. Now, technically speaking, my job still comes through the CX because we both use the Exeter, Shipper and myself, for the invoicing and for just communicating during the job. But I didn't win the job by bidding on the CX. I got the job because I contacted them directly, and I said, "Do some work for me next week." This was last week, and they gave me some work because they trust me and they want me to work for them. So I am very fortunate to have developed this relationship with this shipper, and I hope it continues. I like the work. I like to mix it up with the CX work as well. I don't want to just do this shipper. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. But on a week like this week where things have been tough on the CX, it really has helped me earn a decent amount of money for this week. A fair amount of money for a fair job done for the shipper. And I'm going to finish off by telling you how I got this. I know exactly how I got this work. Especially it comes down to being a tip. I think I might have mentioned this before, but it's in relation to how I got this shipper. It was a tip. It was a thing I did one day where I put on a really high radius, like 200 miles from my home location, and I was looking at going to High Wycombe because I had a job from High Wycombe, or it might have been going to London maybe. And when I did that, and I was looking also for in the future jobs for the following day. It was when I was trying to get jobs booked in for the following day. It's the first kind of time I really just took it seriously and tried to experiment with using the CX system. And what I did was I put a bid on 3 jobs that were all one was from Newcastle, one was from Plymouth, going to High Wycombe, and one was from somewhere else. No, I'm going to correct that slightly. I've misremembered that. Forget the High Wycombe bit. What I did was I put a really big radius from my home location of like 200 miles for jobs for tomorrow, and then I put any bids on that were a long distance from my home tomorrow morning, and then that gave me that afternoon to try and get to that point. That was what I was doing. So High Wycombe wasn't anything to do with that at this point. And then I noticed that there were 3 jobs all going to High Wycombe, and I put a bid on all of them. And after the 3rd one, I noticed it was the same actual company. It was the same named person I was doing it with. And I put the bids on all the same rates, all at quite a decent rate, a rate that I'd be paid to do them for. So quite high money for they're all about sort of 200 miles, 250 miles. And then I got a call from somebody. I'd put on about 6 bids, and the guy said his name, and I said, "Oh, I recognise that name." And I was racking my brain, how do I recognise the name? How do I recognise the name? And I said, "Oh no, I put 3 bids on your jobs." And from that conversation, from that recognition, from that, I like to think it was because I came across as being quite polite and quite thankful for getting the job. I developed a texting conversation with him, And that's what led to me then chasing for further work in the future when I realised they had regular jobs doing this sort of thing, going to High Wycombe. So the tip, at the end of the day, my tip was I did a massive radius from my home location the following day in the hope that I would find something on the day I was on to get to wherever I've booked for the following morning. I hope that makes sense. Makes sense in my head, but I'm quite tired. I suppose if you don't understand it, write me a comment and I'll text you. I'll text a better explanation. Anyway, so that's what I've learned and my tip, and that's where it all came from. So it's really at this moment in time, proving to be a wise thing that I did that day, and that was about a month ago. So thank you very much for listening to another one of my videos. What have you learnt today?